Butterflies and royalty have a lot in common. Both appear regal and majestic, decked out in the finest garb around. Both are completely untouchable, royals figuratively and butterflies quite literally. Both seem perfect on the outside, but have a secret. Strange behaviors and hidden personalities that most are never privy to. But in this episode, we'll be revealing the lesser-known sides of at least one of these two groups. The poop-guzzling, booze-fueled, toxic existence that is being a butterfly. Hi, I'm Tasha, and this is Animalogic. Today we're talking about the subject of every millennial's blown-out hip tattoo, the iconic butterfly. Specifically, we're going to be diving into the little-discussed sides of butterflies that are less than savory, as we try to answer royalty or butterfly. Who is grosser? Let's start by simply asking, what is a butterfly? Butterflies are insects and are part of the Lepidoptera order, along with their night owl bros, the moths. Their defining features are their massive wings, several times larger than their bodies. There are around 180,000 species of known lepidopterans, with hundreds of new species being discovered every year. If you want to get in the business of discovering new species, lepidopterans would be a great place to start. Our best guess is that there are likely upwards of 500,000 butterfly and moth species out there, flapping around 24/7. Butterflies have the day shift, and moths have the night. Working the day shift is actually a new innovation for lepidopterans. And when I say new, I mean the evolution from darkness-loving moths to sunshine-loving butterflies happened around 100 million years ago. The first royals were only recorded just over 5,000 years ago in ancient Sumeria, so they have a lot of catching up to do. One thing that royals, with their regal bank accounts, and butterflies have in common is that they both love to drink poop. For royals, it's called Kopi Luwak coffee, the most expensive coffee in the world. This coffee has been fermented in the digestive tracts of Asian palm civets and pooped out. Butterflies, however, prefer a poopy drink that is closer to the source. Puddling is the term that we use to describe when butterflies use their long proboscises to funnel up any manner of nastiness. These can range from straight-up puddle water to the fluids oozing out of rotting carcasses, and yes, the soupy parts of a steaming pile of feces. The reason butterflies do this isn't because they're utter freaks, it's all for the minerals, specifically sodium, aka salt, and nitrogen. Even the way they eat is a bit disgusting. Since they don't have teeth and can't eat solids, they have to puke onto their food to soupify it first. Then they can drink their pre-digested salty soup. Why exactly they need these minerals is a big unanswered question in lepidopterology, otherwise known as the study of butterflies. Another big question remains, who did poop guzzling better, the ultra-rich or butterflies? Butterflies have chemoreceptors in their feet, which allow them to instantly assess whether something is a good meal or a perfect place to lay their eggs. Knowing what we do about their propensity for salty sources, having a butterfly land on you might not be the good omen you hoped. We know that butterflies drink human sweat and tears. So if one does land on you and sticks around, think of yourself less like a blessed Snow White and more like a salted pretzel. Even animals have their tears sucked by butterflies. It looks adorable, but really all they want is that delicious salt. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the vampire moths. They're literal bloodsuckers that break mammal skin to slurp up our nutrient-rich blood. Thankfully, as far as I know, no butterflies have learned to do this yet. Okay. Do I even need to state the obvious comparison to royalty here? Because it's common knowledge that royalty has been drinking the sweat and tears of the common folk since the first crown was placed on a head. Being so perfect by outward appearances can get really boring. What better way to combat the blasé existence of royalty, or butterflydom, than with some liquid distractions? Butterflies, just like many royals, have a secret drinking problem. Butterflies, in fact, love to tie one on and get so smashed they'll land in your hair and fly in circles until they fall out of the sky. In the fall, butterflies can be seen partaking in the fermenting fruits of the season. Considering that the entire purpose of their beautiful existence is to mate and then promptly die within a week or two, can you blame them for wanting to drown their troubles? What story of the regal tale of the butterfly would be complete without a true Princess Diaries storyline? There are some species of butterflies that live their larval stages slumming it in ant colonies, surrounded by commoners. Depending on the species, these types of gossamer-winged butterfly larvae will have a range of relationship styles with their ant hosts. The common imperial blue butterfly, for example, has a mutualistic relationship, excreting sugars and amino acids for its ant nurses in exchange for round-the-clock care. Others are commensal, like Delanora ocrescens, which doesn't interact at all with the ants, but benefits from the protection of the colony. And then there's parasitic relationships, like the large blue butterfly larvae, which gobble up ant babies undetected, pupating right in the ant nest before busting out in the spring to wreak more havoc. It's all delightfully twisted. Even though they're daylight cuties, they're real queens of darkness. But how did it all start? Butterflies began as some adventurous moths started flying around during the day, taking advantage of the nectar-oozing flowers that were open with the sun. Nectar-loaded flowers themselves had co-evolved alongside the bees who pollinate them. We know about the evolution of butterflies because, back in 2019, a large-scale analysis of butterfly DNA was done, which disproved the previous hypothesis about when, how, and why butterflies evolved. The original theory was that pressure on moths from bats, which also feed at night, became so great that it pushed them to start coming out during the day instead. The thought was that this only occurred after the dinosaurs went extinct, and with their delicate bodies, butterfly and moth fossils are few and far between. Instead, we know with almost certainty now that butterflies were flapping around when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. How many butterflies gently landed on a T-Rex's snout while it was taking a nap? We'll never know, but for sure, this happened at least once. Another major revelation from this study is that butterflies did not originate in Asia as previously thought, but can be traced back to what is now North America. Coming to this conclusion certainly was an international effort. Researchers from dozens of countries worked together to create the world's largest butterfly tree of life. DNA from over 2,000 species and 92% of butterfly genera was gathered. In a dizzying 4D puzzle through place and time, the researchers chased the origin of the butterfly back to when and where they first spread their bedazzling wings. As you probably already know, butterflies begin as eggs, which turn into very gluttonous caterpillars. At this stage, they'll eat as many leaves and plants as they can get their mandibles on. A monarch butterfly caterpillar, for example, will eat 200 times their birth weight in leaves in just 10 to 14 days. For a human, that would mean eating 700 kilograms or more than 1,500 pounds of food in 2 weeks, 50 kilograms or 110 pounds of food a day, instead of the about 1 to 2 kilograms or 3 to 5 pounds the average human eats daily, unless you were King Henry VIII, of course. Caterpillars eat so much food that it's actually becoming a problem for the environment. A study from the University of Cambridge revealed that caterpillars and their insatiable appetites are a driver for carbon emissions. Not only do they munch away leaves that convert carbon dioxide into oxygen, their poo, called frass, acts like the perfect fertilizer for microbes that release yet more carbon dioxide into the air. Once the destructo mode is over, a caterpillar encases itself in a chrysalis before transforming into a butterfly. But what is actually going on inside that self-made body bag? Inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar as we know it disintegrates completely, turning into a kind of caterpillar soup dumpling. Not everything dissolves though. A 2013 study in which CT scans were taken of active chrysalises showed that key parts did not morph into goo. The tracheal tubes used for breathing, for example, didn't liquefy, but stayed essentially in the same spot, just getting bigger for the butterfly to breathe. The gut, too, stays in place, shrinking because the days of overindulging are now over. Imaginal discs, which will form the structures of the butterfly, are also present in the caterpillar before the great gooifying in the chrysalis occurs. It all begs the question, how can a slop bucket of parts turn into one of the world's most wonderful creatures? I'm talking about butterflies here, of course, not royals. A big part of the reason butterflies are so beautiful is that they have such colorful and unique patterns. But even that has its nasty side. To keep themselves out of the mouths of their enemies, many butterflies use aposematism. This is exactly the opposite of using camouflage to blend in with the background. Aposematism, also known as warning coloration, screams in bright colors and eye-popping patterns. Eat me and suffer the consequences. The monarch butterfly is the perfect example of aposematism, bright orange with shocking black and white patterns warn of grossness or even illness if eaten. If a young bird decides to sample a monarch, they will soon learn that they should never snack on something so disgusting again. Monarchs are toxic because of the milkweed they ingest, which contains toxic compounds called cardenolides. As the caterpillars fatten up on milkweed, they absorb these compounds, making them not just vile to the taste, but they'll even make the predator vomit. I guess a butterfly just has to hope that it's not that first one that teaches the bird a life lesson. Other butterflies, like the pipevine swallowtail, eat so many chemical weapons during their caterpillar stage that they remain toxic after metamorphosis. Some heliconius butterflies go a step further, and in addition to eating and retaining toxic compounds during their caterpillar stage, they're able to produce their own poison. And just like the monarch, their beautiful coloration warns predators to stay as far away as possible. So when we humans see a monarch, we see a regal beauty, while the birds that have dared to eat one see nothing more than a pile of puke. Unless they're a black-headed grosbeak, of course, who have evolved to eat monarchs like potato chips. While some butterflies have who they really are on full display, others pretend to be something else entirely. In the animal world, this is called Batesian mimicry, in which a harmless mimic impersonates a poisonous or toxic model. There are many species of butterflies that use this tactic. The harmless, red-spotted purple butterfly looks like the toxic pipevine swallowtail. The female common Mormon butterfly mimics the toxic common rose butterfly. What about the viceroy butterfly, who looks almost identical to the monarch? Well, researchers have recently determined that since it's also distasteful to predators, the viceroy is an example of two toxic species that evolved to look more alike. This is called Müllerian mimicry. What would you call it when this phenomenon happens with royalty? Another imitation game that these tricksy butterflies play is using fake eye spots to trick would-be predators into thinking something bigger and badder is lurking around. Owl butterflies are particularly good at pretending to be something else entirely to protect their true identities. No matter how you spread it, a propensity to suck dry, a taste for the unusual, and a need to escape are characteristics shared by both royals and butterflies. Let me know in the comments below where you see other parallels, and while you're there, drop a comment about what you'd like to see next. Don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every week. Bye.